Hello there. Welcome back to Mathematical Literacy Grade 10. We are still working on a question paper of an assignment of February 2022. So this is the question paper that we have. This is the last question on that assignment, which is question 3, and it has got 16 marks. So we are going to go through the question and answer the questions that follow. So the question reads: the graph below represents the relationship between the amount each worker receives after sharing a payout of 12,000 rands for doing a particular job. So we are given workers sharing 12,000, and we are given a graph that we are given there. So this is our graph that we are given, whereby we have got amount in rands on the vertical axis, and then we have got number of persons on the horizontal axis, and then we have got our dotted curve that we have there. That is what we have there. So I believe that we are having the questions, and we have got to use the information above to answer the questions that follow. The question is 3.1.1, and it reads: write down the type of proportion represented on the graph. So what is key there in that question is the type of proportion that we have to identify as given in the graph. So you go back to the graph and try to identify what type of proportion do we have. But remember, we have got two types of proportions that we have. We have got a direct proportion. We have got a direct proportion. One, we can have a direct proportion, and we can have an indirect proportion. A direct proportion and indirect proportion. And indirect, we can as well call it a we can as well call it an inverse. We can as well call it an inverse proportion. So these are the two proportions that we have. Basically, the difference between the two is seen in the relationship that we have. The relationship that we have between the two variables that will be there. Remember, we are having a variable on the vertical axis, and we've got a variable on the horizontal axis. Here we have got a variable, let's say variable A and variable B. It might be price on the vertical axis, and then maybe we have got quantity they are representing the horizontal axis. Like in our case, in the graph that we've got number of persons in the horizontal axis, and then we've got the amount that we have on the vertical axis. So those are the two variables that we have. So when it's a direct proportion, we are going to have a positive relationship between these two variables. That is, if A is increasing, we are going to see also B increasing. So we have got a typical curve which is like this, representing. So this one represents a direct proportion. Then if we have an inverse now, so it becomes the opposite now. If it's an inverse, it becomes the opposite. It means when we have an increase of one of the variables, let's say A is increasing, B will be decreasing. So on the inverse, if we have an increase here, we see B moving in the opposite direction. And the opposite is true. If B is increasing, moving this direction, it means our A is also decreasing. They're moving in the opposite direction. So we are having an indirect proportion. So a typical curve will show a negative slope like this. This is now representing an indirect proportion. So if you go back to our curve, you would see that our curve is typical indirect proportion. So we would see that this is an indirect proportion. So on the part of 3.1.1, we are going to see that 3.1.1 represents an indirect proportion. So maybe we can just write here that it's an indirect proportion. So that's what we have in terms of 3.1.1. Then we move on to the next one, which is 3.1.2. It's saying write down the formula use to draw the proportion. So the formula is the key there. The formula that we need to identify, which is being represented by that graph. So we go to the graph and try to see what formula do we have. So the formula that we are going to deduce there is the formula that is leading us to the value. If we have a number of persons there on the horizontal axis, like 2 here, we are having it corresponding to amount in rands, which is 6,000. We go to 3. 3 is corresponding to 4,000. So how are we getting these figures is the equation that we need to deduce. So we are seeing that if we have got 2 persons here, for example, the total that we are given at the beginning of this question, the workers sharing, they are sharing 12,000 there. 12,000 they are sharing here, 12,000. So what it means is when they are sharing 12,000, when we have 2 persons, we are seeing that each one is getting 6,000. So it means basically if it's 2, we are saying 2 into 12,000 to get our 6,000. Then if we've got 3, we are saying 3 into 12,000, then we get our 4,000. If we go to 4, we do the same thing. We go to 5, we do the same thing. So that's basically what we have. So that's where from that angle that we can deduce the formula that we are having there. So basically what we are saying now, we are saying to get the amount received, this is the amount received on the vertical axis. We are saying 12,000 divided by the number of persons. We are saying 12,000 divided by the number of persons. So here we can try to put the answer here. This is 3.1.2. So we are now on 3.1.2. 3.1.2. So what are we saying? We are saying to get the amount received. To get the amount received, we are saying it is equal to 12,000 rands. That is, we are given there, divided by the number of persons there on the horizontal axis, divided by the number of persons. But then this number of persons, we can just represent it as n. So basically, we can then summarize this equation by saying amount received is equal to 12,000 divided by n. So this is the equation that we can deduce there. Where n, you can give an explanation of what n is representing. Where n is the number of people. Where n is the number of people. Right, so that is what we have on 3.1.2. So we can move on to see the next question. What do we have there? We are now on 3.1.3. Right, on 3.1.3, it reads, give a reason why the line of the graph is represented as a dotted line. This graph is represented by a dotted line. We are saying that it's a dotted from the beginning there, we go down, it's dotted. So the reason that we can give there, is that the horizontal axis being the number of persons there is being represented by people. So we cannot have a fraction of a person. That's why we are seeing it as a dotted. So what it means is in between the first person and the second person, when we have got one there in terms of representation of person, then we have got 2. We cannot have any persons that can come in between 1 and 2, since we are saying we cannot have a fraction of a person. So that becomes the main reason why it's a dotted. Dotted meaning it's the representation is only coming on the demarcation that we are having there on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In between, we cannot have any representation in terms of number of persons. Why? Because we cannot have a fraction of a person. So that is the reason why we are representing that one as a dotted line. So here we are now on 3.1.3. So we can just give an explanation there on 3.1.3. We are now on 3.1.3. And the reason that we can give there is that the number of people on the horizontal cannot be written or cannot be represented as decimals or fractions. As decimals or fractions. So this is the reason why we are having a dotted line. So we can move on to the next question that we have there. So we are now on 3.1.4, and you see that 3.1.4 is saying determine the amount each person will receive if only 3 people are working on the job. If only 3 people are working on the job. So we can go back to our formula that we deduced. Remember the formula that we had there. Let's go back and check. This is the formula that we came up with, this one. This is the formula that we came up with. It's saying amount received is equals to 12,000 over n. So we can just substitute n there according to the question that we are having there. So we are saying 3.1.4. We are now on 3.1.4. And we were saying amount received is equals to 12,000 rands over n. And then here we have got n, or n is 3 according to 3.1.4. So we are saying amount received, we are saying is 12,000 rands over n, where n is the number of people. So here we are having our number of people here. We are specifically told that we have got 3 people. So what we are saying now is now 12,000 rands as our numerator here, and then obviously we substitute our n with 3. So what do we get there? 3 to 12,000, you get our 4,000 rands. So that's what we have in terms of 3.1.4. Then the next one is 3.1.5, is saying explain why the line is a curve in relation to the 2 variables. Explain why the line is a curve in relation to the 2 variables. So this is the next question that we have. So this is the graph that we have, and then the question is asking us why it is a curve in relation to the 2 variables. The variables that we have, we've got amount runs, then we've got number of persons there. So these are the 2 variables. So they are saying, why are we having a curve? So we are seeing that it's coming in the form of a curve because we are having amount in runs here as a representation of the amount that is going to be shared. So the reason why it's a curve is because this curve is not supposed to reach 0. Remember 0, this is the 0 amount. It's not supposed to come here because no matter how many people are going to share the 12,000, they cannot get a 0 amount. Whether we have got 1 million people that are going to share the 12,000, they are going to get a certain fraction of that amount of 12,000, which is not going to reach 0. So it means this curve cannot reach 0. So that becomes the reason why it is coming in the form of a curve, and we are seeing this curve is bowing outwards as it is going. It cannot reach 0. So that is the reason why it's coming in the form of a curve. So we can go down to state that reason on that part. This is the last part that we are having on 3.1. Then we 3.1.5. We can just state the reason here. 3.1.5 and saying explain why the line is a curve in relation to the two variables. This is because the amount of money the amount of money to be shared cannot be equal to 0. Cannot be equal to 0. So it becomes the reason that we are having a curve there. Cannot be equal to 0. So that's what we have on 3.1.5. So this marks the end of the first part. We go to the second part of the question, that is question 3. We've got this question. It reads this 3.2. Zebulon works as a builder for 6.5 hours per day, excluding 30 minutes tea break and 1 hour lunch. He starts working at 7:30 a.m. Use the information above to answer the questions that follow. And on 3.2.1, it reads, determine the time of the day he leaves work for home. So we need to identify when this worker is starting to work. We are told that he's starting at 7:30, and then the working hours are 6.5, works for 6.5, and then in this 6.5 we don't have, or the 30 minutes is not included. The 30 minutes is excluded, so it's not inside that. And then also we have got the lunch hour, which is 1 hour, and this one is the tea break. So what it means is these are only the working hours. So we need to add the 30 minutes tea break and then 1 hour lunch to 7:30 to get when this worker leaves work for home. So this is where it is important, where the worker is leaving home. So what we are going to do is on 3.2.1, we are going to have 07:30 as the starting point. And we are told that the working hours are 6.5 hours. And we know that 6.5 hours, this is a fraction. Here we've got 0.5 hour. Here, 0.5 hour. We have 6 hours and 0.5. 6 plus 0.5 gives us 6.5. So the 0.5 that we are having here it's half. 0.5 is half. It's half of an hour. And we know that if we say, we know that in 1 hour we've got 60 minutes. 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So what does it mean? It means 0.5 hour is the same as saying we are saying 0.5 times the total minutes that we have in an hour, which we are having 60 minutes. We multiply by 60 here, we get our 30 minutes. So it means this 6.5 hours is the same as saying 6 hours 30 minutes. So here we are going to add 6 hours 30 minutes to 07:30, and here it's a 0. And then we are seeing that we are also having a tea break there of 30 minutes. We are also having a tea break there of 30 minutes here. 30 minutes tea break. So we are adding that one again. It's not included there in the 6 hours 30 minutes. So we have got 30 minutes 30 minutes, and then we've got 1 hour lunch. This one is just 1 hour, and then we don't have any minutes. So this section, so you'd see that this column, we are having our minutes, and this is our hours. So we can now make an addition there to see where are we going. So we are just going to represent it in the form of a 24-hour. You know that a 24-hour clock, from 12 we go to 13, then we go to 14, then we go to 15. So that's what we are going to do there. So here we can find the total. So we start by adding the minutes. So if say 30 minutes plus 30 minutes, you are going to get 60 minutes. Then you add another 30 minutes, you get your 90 minutes. So here we are having 90 is our minutes. Then for hours, we are saying 7 plus 6, you get 13. Then you get 14. So here we've got 14 hours. So so what it means there, is it means we are having our answer as 14 hours. We are having our answer as 14 hours and then 90 minutes. So here it means our 90 minutes now, this one we don't it's surpassing the maximum number of minutes per hour. Remember, we have got 60 minutes representing 1 hour. So it means we've gotten 1 hour inside this 90 minutes, which we are supposed to add to the hours. So we take out the 60 minutes that are inside 90. So we say 90 minus 60, we are left with only 30. So this 60 that we have taken out is to 1 hour, is equivalent to our 1 hour. So this will add to 15. So if it adds to 15 there, we are going to see that we are going to be left with we say 14 hours plus this 1 hour that we've taken out for 90 minutes, we get 15 here. And then we are left with 30 minutes, so the 30 will come here. So this is when this person is leaving for home. And we know that when it's 15, it's now PM. So it's 15:30 PM. So this is the time when this worker is leaving home. So we can just leave it as 15:30. We can just leave it as 15:30, representing the time, since it's a 24-hour, representing the time when this worker is leaving home. So this is the time of the day. This represents the time of the day. So we go to the next question that we have there. We go to the next question that we have. Now we are having 3.2.2 is saying Zebulon calculated that 245.37 bags of cement are required for the job. His manager states that they need to purchase 246. Explain why the manager statement is correct. So here we are seeing that we are having 245.37 bags, but then the manager stated that he needs 246. We are now we are seeing that 246 is greater than the figure that we have, the actual figure that we have, which is 245.37. So it means this manager has rounded up that that figure of 245.37. So the question is, explain why the manager's statement is correct. So it's correct because we cannot give a 0.37 bag of cement. This is a fraction of a bag of cement, which is not possible. All the bags come as full, is 100% full. So when it's 0.37, we are saying it's 37% full, which is not possible. So that's why this manager has rounded it up to 246. So that is what we have. So the explanation there, the explanation, we can give an explanation on 3.2.2. Let's try to give an explanation there. 3.2.2. Yeah, right. We are now on 3.2.2. So the explanation that we can give there is that there is no fraction of a bag. Therefore, the manager is rounded up. You can see that that figure has been rounded up. So it's correct. That's why we are having such a scenario that it has been rounded up. Right. So that's what we have in terms of this question 3 of that assignment of February 2022. We meet again in the next video. Those who haven't subscribed, please subscribe and share. So we are still coming on mathematical literacy, grade 10. So let's stay tuned for more videos. We meet again in the next videos. With that, I'm signing out.